So the trajectory will take us यहाँ से बस only 100 meters extra. Nothing
No
else.
problem. I love walking.
That's good. That's good. All right. Greetings, guys. I am Raviraj, and today we have a very well-designed personality with us. Let's welcome Anik Jain,
Thank
and
you.
let's get to know him in the most candid, well-designed way. So,
Okay, let's go.
how was the journey so far till Roorkee?
Amazing. It was very nice, and I didn't expect it to be so cold here, but it was great. I loved the campus. I had an entire tour of it. I was walking. I see so many people on the bicycles
Yeah.
with e-rickshaws. I went to CCD also and had a coffee there. So very great experience, and I really happy to be here.
And how are you liking your campus so far?
Amazing. As I said, like I am amazed by the campus. The main building looks very pretty. It doesn't look like it's from India. It
does
looks
not,
like,
yeah, true.
like a European style design, but very great. I love that. Yeah.
That is great. Now the next question is, if you have to explain in layman language to a 5-year-old
Okay.
what is designing,
Okay.
so how will you explain it? What is designing for you?
I would say design for me is something which drives someone and has an emotion or a feeling when they look at it. You know, let's say when you are driving on the highway and you look at a billboard or a poster, the feeling you get after looking at it and the change it makes in your mind psychologically, that's something as powerful as design can be.
That does sound very powerful. So now that you must have experimented with graphic designing and multiple niche under graphic designing,
Okay.
how did you find your own niche of logo designing per se?
I would say when anyone who is starting out, they have to explore every single niche, every single thing, because I started also graphic designer. I was doing packaging design, I was doing poster design, I was even doing illustrations at a point. I did Virat Kohli ka illustration on my Corel Draw. So I would say when someone is exploring, they cannot limit themselves, they should not limit themselves. They should explore every single field, and you will initially know with what is like your niche, what you really like doing. And logo design was something which was my calling, where I felt ki, yeah, I can do this even when I'm sleeping. I can do this without any hesitation. When designing logos, it didn't feel like work. So that is something where I sort of noticed and thought this can be my niche, and then I picked it up.
So for a designer who is starting fresh,
Yeah.
how long should one explore a particular niche, if you want to say in terms of maybe days or weeks or months?
I would say when someone's starting fresh, the best way for them to experiment on different niches is working in a company and working in a startup, because startups don't look for a logo designer, don't look for like a packaging expert. Startup looks for a graphic designer, and where you will have much more responsibility and much more control over what you're trying to do. So there you have like let's say like a 3-month internship, 6-month internship. So that's a good enough time for you to explore, and then you can work with different companies. So working with 3 startups, although like a 1-year went, you have good enough experience, and then you can sort of choose with what segment you want to go into. So that is a good way to start.
That's great. That's great to know for our aspiring designers. We do have actually a master's in design course over here, and multiple बहुत सारे designers aspiring है. It's just that about the breakthrough which they which they need in their career. And coming to breakthrough, how did you get your breakthrough in design or person logo designing while you were creating content? Was it the content part which gave you your breakthrough, or was it approaching startups, doing freelance with them?
I would say putting out work every single day, designing and freelancing for clients, making a lot of mistakes also is something which has got me where I am. Doing something so consistently that it doesn't feel like work, doesn't feel like, okay, you've done so much, now you should stop doing it. And that kept me going, again, creating content, because when I created content, half of the things I didn't even know what I was. So I like self-taught myself, and then I learned by creating content, and which is what made me a designer. And yeah, this is why I'm here.
That's great. That's great. This actually drives me back to one of your memories. I did stalk your page.
Okay.
And there was a memory when जब ऐसे आपके freelancing के maybe the first money or payment which you got you brought your dad an Apple Watch.
Yeah, right.
So if we can deep dive into that particular story.
So my dad had an Apple Watch already, but it was like Series 3 or something. It was very old Apple Watch. It has a crack. It had a crack also on the watch. And I started earning at that time. In my first freelance gig, I made around 15,000 rupees. And in my second one, I made around 25,000. So collected that money, and I thought ki, that giving your parents back with your first salary or with your first income. So that happened, and then I texted one of my good friends to arrange for an Apple Watch, and I paid him that much of money which I gained, and I bought him an Apple Watch Series 6, which was I think the latest at that time. And
This
yeah,
2020, right? This
yeah, it was 2020, yeah, 2021, I think.
All right.
So he absolutely loved it. He's wearing it every single day now.
That's great. Again, coming back to someone who's starting fresh, 15,000 was the amount which you got as your first freelance.
And it was
amount.
it was a foreign client.
Ah,
It was a
got
client from US. I did a packaging design for them, and 15,000 were converted into INR. That much money I got.
That's great. So for someone who's starting fresh, what must be the amount if they're looking at the monetary aspect as well?
I would say, so you're talking about freelancing?
Yeah.
Okay. So when charging your rate might be very tricky. So what I would do is I would tell someone, whoever is sort of getting into freelancing, so in the start, it's even okay to work for free, because a lot of times what people struggle with is not pricing their work; they struggle with finding clients.
Got it.
When you are pricing your work a certain way, half or more than half of certain clients below that eliminates. Okay, so what I also did is I worked for free for a few clients, and then I told them to sign a contract with me. You must be thinking, how is a contract coming here when there's no money involved?
Yeah.
In that contract, I mentioned that I'm going to work for free, but after my work is done with you, you have to recommend me to 5 other people and not tell them I worked for free for you.
Oh, got it.
So because of that work, the client is happy because I work for free.
Right.
I got a design in my portfolio.
Correct.
I'm happy. And he recommended me to 5 other people. So I'm happy more. so that's something, yeah.
Which young freelancers should look after, the contract part.
Yeah, they can. And it's okay to start with free working for free, because you build your portfolio, you gain experience, you gain a lot of trust, and you sort of see how the industry is going, and then you can see the nominal rates. If you are niche into something, then you can slightly charge higher, and if you are specializing, then you can slightly charge the same price.
All right. You do really believe that God is a designer?
Of course,
And
I
that is
have it
something-
tattooed on my hand.
Yeah, I think that is what your cap also says.
Yeah.
Can we know the story behind it? Matlab, what is your belief and what particular system made you see this?
Okay. So this is actually a company. This is based in Miami, and I bought this hat from them. His founder, Angel, is a very close friend of mine,
All right.
and we are connected on Instagram. And when I saw this product of God as a Designer on Chris Do's head, like he was wearing it every time he gives talks and sessions and everything, I instantly related to what I was doing.
Right.
When I was designing as a freelancer, I was a small freelancer working with a few clients a month, and when I read this thing, when I saw this thing, God is a designer, that feeling and that emotion which happened with me by just reading that phrase, and I had a flashback of everything, like even us, we are being designed by God, and that literally means that God is a designer who has designed such beautiful people.
Correct.
So that is something which very, very resonates with me. I have a tattoo right here of God as a designer. I wear this cap everywhere I go to meet people, and yeah, it's just been something which is very attached to me.
That's great. That's great to know. Coming to the next question, from your first 1080p by 1080p Illustrator file to the current 275 plus K Instafam, how has been the creator journey so far?
Well, the first wasn't an Illustrator file. It was a CorelDRAW file. I started with CorelDRAW in my college, and then it sort of moved towards Illustrator. But the journey, it was amazing. Like, more than reaching to a certain stage, I would say the progress and the process involved in the journey was something which I would relive anytime, any moment. And it was great. I mean, I can talk long about this, but yeah, it was very worth it.
So now that you've mentioned that you can talk a lot about this, I'll try to anchor it to one particular point where you said that two different set of people can have similar ideas and might as well execute it in the most similar fashion, and that could be a coincidence.
Correct.
Which I can really believe that will be very easily happening in this design industry.
100%.
How do you deal with it if it happens फिर से और पहले भी जो हुआ था, how did you ऐसे handle it?
So good question. Actually, I also posted a reel about that. There were two logos which were already existing on the internet, and then what happened is there was a huge backlash from the community and from that company which already existing that logo. So then I sort of realized that you know, if I can get a certain idea, anyone in the world can get that same idea
Same
and
idea.
execute also in the same way.
Right.
That really happens a lot. And not only in design, even in fashion, if you see, there's so many people can come up with the same concept, and it doesn't necessarily mean it's a copied or it's a highly interpreted one. So in that case, what you should do is you should respect what other people get the idea what they do. You should also respect your work and your craft, and that is why I follow like a rule of pushing myself so hard that I know that this concept won't exist online. There are a few tools. There is a website called World something global database. On that, you can check, you can upload your logo, and you can check if there's any similar concept or mark already existing. And then there is obviously Google image search and all that stuff.
That's good to know, though. I mean, young designers and creators will definitely find that helpful. Coming to the next question, if you have to design a logo for yourself,
Okay.
what is that other one element except the cap which will you include?
I would say I will include, you know, honestly, I would keep the logo open for interpretation. I would not have necessarily that one element in it which makes it rather very direct to as to what I stand for. But I would keep it open for interpretation for people because different people look at me in different way.
Correct.
You know, some might perceive me as very differently as the other one. So I would keep it open for interpretation, but would love to use a double story A. If you know the A which is like this and like that.
Right, yeah.
Not a single story, but double story A and a lowercase a to add more personality into the logo.
That's good. That's good to know. I mean, I obviously don't know the design aspect behind all of this.
Okay.
Behind like choosing one A over the other, but I don't know. Jitna bhi humne baat kari, it does relate with you.
Yep.
In this journey, like I think you must have gone through a journey where you were indecisive about starting or entering into the creator space. So who were your inspirational creators then? Now who became your co-creators?
Yeah. So there is a creator called Abby Koenig. She is a great YouTuber. She's the OG brand identity designer whom I used to follow a lot, and we just talk on DMs right now. Like I used to really look up to her when I was starting out. And there is Abby Koenig, there is Will Patterson, there is James Martin, there is James Bernard. All these people I used to like really look up to, and it's crazy how I get to interact with them, I get to learn from them, and these are like my indirect mentors, I would say.
So what struck out between you and Abby Koenig?
I think the factor that she's also doing freelancing as well as running her own agency. She also creates content, and there were so many things similar between us that, you know, it's really stood out. Like she's someone who does that in UK, and I'm someone who does that in India. So that's something. Well, this is interesting.
Yeah. For some reason, this gate is hamesha band.
Yeah.
Matlab, as a community, we're still figuring out why is that.
Maybe because of the car, no?
I mean, yeah, if you had to answer it logically. Given that we have a lot of aspirational designers in campus, and given, let's say, in scenarios where appropriate companies don't find them, or else they don't get to approach the right sort of maybe companies after startups.
Correct.
What is that one advice which you would like to give in general to all of them who are maybe still finding their niche, who maybe might have found their niche and targeting to settle in that particular one area or domain?
I would say the only one advice I would like to give: whenever you're trying out new things, don't chase for perfection. Okay, don't be like, this has to be perfect, then only I will take the next step. My portfolio has to be perfect. No, it's you're never perfect in the start. You know, if you look at my work 2 years ago, you'll be like, what's this Aniks work really? You know, we should question calling him your. But no, everyone has their base, everyone has their roots where they start, and you grow, you develop from them. Right. So don't chase a perfection in the start. Chase for quantity over quality in the beginning. As soon as you sort of grow and you have the sort of authority, then start pushing out quality and less of quantity. So when the start don't chase for perfection. Let that come to you naturally.
That is good to know. And the thing you mentioned about the quantity, I feel like, because I've stalked you a lot on Insta, not abhi but pehle se bhi, I remember you putting out monotonous set of logos very initially.
Correct.
Like black and white and grey.
Correct.
And
Yeah.
uske baad maybe mustard and some other colors.
Correct. Yes.
So what was your maybe mind mein algorithm that acha, this is what I should do for eventually getting a breakthrough, or maybe for people to look at my content?
I would say my mindset at that time was something ki I want to push out so much work that people will have no choice but to see what I've put there. And you know, I wanted it to be in such a way that if I miss a day also of posting, people will wonder ki yaar aaj Anik ka post nahi dekha. You know, where is Anik? Is he okay? What happened to him? So I wanted that kind of a feeling people to have indirectly and subconsciously, but it happened. Like I used to, and creating these designs wasn't that difficult also. I used to create like 5 designs in a day, put that out throughout the week, and continuously keep doing that, which is sort of where and how I started my journey. So, and that was way back. How much you talked to? That was so back.
That I think was around 2020, July.
Yeah.
Around that time, I think so.
100%.
So, and also I loved your page, by the way. It's amazing.
Thank you.
Which brings to my next question. How does it feel to gain a lot of attention, or maybe be famous, or in general recognized in your niche? How is that feeling?
See, I won't lie. It feels nice.
Yeah.
It feels nice to go somewhere, random person coming up to you. Hey, I saw your work on YouTube, on Instagram. I love what you do. It feels nice. But I don't let that get to my head. One thing which I'm grateful for is I'm not famous for how I look or my personality, but I'm famous for my work,
right.
for how I talk to people, for how I educate them, for what kind of work I put on the internet, which is why I love people when they appreciate me for my work, that they see my work, they love my work, they love how I think, they love how I execute things. So that is something which I really like and really appreciate from everyone, whoever comes up to me. Like even now when I was touring the campus, there's so many people who came and clicked a picture with me because they have seen my work and they see and they have appreciated it.
Right.
So it feels nice, feels great, but I don't let that to my head, because I'll be very honest, I'm not the greatest or the best designer in the world or even in India. I'm not the greatest logo designer, but I'm the best one who is out there. I'm the best one who is putting out content, not every single day, but putting out so much content that you can't ignore it.
Correct.
You know?
So basically getting recognized by your work over in general fame
Yourself,
based on your personality any day.
100%.
All right. Which brings to my last question.
Okay.
How has your journey been so far with us?
So honestly, the journey has been very smooth. Okay. I came here, realized there was a hailstorm, there were snow and everything, and it was crazy. Even the Wi-Fi stopped working.
Yeah.
So I got the storm into this college. Very happy with the team and everyone for their hospitality. And yeah, it's been a great journey so far.
Thank you so much. This was Anik Jain, and we did get to know that he was the person who brought hailstorm, well-designed hailstorm to be precise, in our campus. Thank you so much. Rolling.
Thank you. Done. Wow.